It's Wednesday afternoon. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. Thanks for clicking on this in-depth web-only video that I do every weekday. Sometimes I even do some bonus ones in the mornings or on the weekends if the situation warrants. Well, here's the situation as I record this at a little after 2 o'clock this afternoon. The weather's quiet across the Mahoning Valley. It's warm out. It's humid out. Here's the temperature outlook, and you can see some holes in the overcast here. So we've had some sun over the last hour or so. Temperatures are in the mid-70s. Dew points are around 60, so there is moderate amounts of humidity out there as you step outside. It's definitely a noticeable change compared to 24 hours ago. Now, the big question is what's going to happen the rest of the day today? Well, last night we got off pretty lucky. The big storms that blew up out across Chicago and into Iowa and into Michigan weakened quite a bit as they came south and east. And we, if you watched my social media posts last night, that's what we pretty much expected to happen. I said that I couldn't rule out that they held together, but that the odds definitely favored them weakening as they approach Youngstown. So some of us have not even had any raindrops so far today, and a lot of us won't see any more raindrops for the rest of the day. We'll talk about the future in a little more detail in just a second. Our cold front slipping in from the west. You can pick out where the cold front is, not necessarily by looking at the temperature so much, but by looking at the dew point. Look how dew points drop off. Let me take off the satellite here. Look how dew points drop off once you're out west of this area right here. So there's our cold front. Dew points are dropping into the 40s and 50s. And this cold front is pushing east, and it's running into a warm and humid, unstable air mass. And a new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for southern Ohio, southeastern Ohio, parts of West Virginia, northern tier of counties in Kentucky, and into central Indiana. This runs until 9 p.m. There's not much activity in here just yet, but that will probably change over the next few hours. This is the zone that has the best chance of seeing hail and damaging winds as we head towards evening. Now, we can't rule out that we get a thunderstorm or two around the valley, but it just doesn't look like severe weather is all that likely. And just as I'm speaking here, a new tornado warning out there in Indiana. Let's just take a peek at that real quick. An interesting little formation out here, maybe a little hook trying to form on this cell. Kind of a lonely cell out here in Indiana, northwest of Indianapolis. So, a tornado can't be ruled out either in some of these storms in this zone, but hail and damaging winds the main threats to our south. All right, I'm going to show you a few little indices here to show you what the atmosphere kind of looks like this afternoon. First things first, the severe or the supercell parameter, kind of an indice that we look at to see where conditions are most favorable for supercell thunderstorms to develop. And this may be a little hard for you to see depending on if you're watching in HD or not, but when we get into some of these kind of brighter blues, or perhaps more pronounced blues, it's actually probably a darker shade of blue. That's where the conditions are most favorable right now. But this is just a snapshot of the atmosphere as of 2 o'clock. The significant tornado parameter, not too many places have that very high, except down in south central Illinois, where the combination of instability and wind shear is probably the highest. Convective available potential energy. Something that we look at. It's a fancy meteorological term to describe how unstable the atmosphere is, how efficiently air parcels can rise high into the atmosphere. And the deeper shades of orange and into the purples, that's where right now the atmosphere is most unstable. You'll notice that despite a fair amount of warm and humid air, it's only kind of moderately unstable here in northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania. The instability is definitely higher to the southwest, which is a good reason why the chance for big thunderstorms is higher to the south and west this afternoon. All right, so let's bring up our latest high-resolution model and show you what it predicts the radar will look like as we go through time. I'm going to start this a couple of hours after I record this at about 4 p.m. This is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Thunderstorms lining up along I-70 from Indianapolis to Dayton, pretty close to Columbus as well at 4 o'clock. And then let's roll this forward to 5 o'clock. And again, the I-70 corridor, kind of the focal point here. But that said, I don't want to totally rule out that a couple of stray cells pop up here in northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania. Remember, it's still a relatively unstable air mass. Not as unstable as to the south, but it's still warm and muggy out. A cold front's coming in, so that's a situation where we don't want to say, hey, it's definitely going to be dry. But the coverage will not be all that great. So 5 p.m. here, 6 p.m., again, it has maybe a couple of cells trying to pop up around Youngstown, but definitely the higher concentration. Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus and Zanesville, Cambridge areas, and then down towards Parkersburg and Marietta. Here's 7 o'clock, pretty good looking cluster, maybe moving through the Cincinnati area, getting set to dive into Kentucky. right around sunset at 8 o'clock or so. Again, your eye is drawn down here towards Cincinnati, but even up here, again, the model's popping up a couple of storms. So if you've got a Little League game, if you're playing golf this evening, if you want to get some yard work done, you'll want to be sure and pay attention to my social media posts. Whenever we have something on the radar, I'm posting all the time. Twitter's your best bet. If you follow me on Facebook, be sure and go up to where it says like, click on that little banner and click get notifications. That way you get a little notification on your Facebook whenever I post anything, because Facebook filters out of your news feed the majority of my posts. That's why Twitter's better. But Facebook's fine too if you work around the system a little bit. So could see a thunderstorm or two. If we get a storm, it's going to be a downpour. There could be a brief period of gusty winds, but the coverage is not going to be great. As I record this at 2:10 this afternoon, it's just a little too early to say where they're going to form. They're going to pop up out of nowhere wherever they do. There's not going to be many of them, and you can't say 2 or 3 or 4 hours in advance exactly what neighborhood they're going to be in. So stay tuned on that. All right, that's the story for the rest of the day today. So we head into the day tomorrow. I think it's an uneventful day. I'm going to bring up the NAM model here, and I'm actually going to show you something a little different as we head towards the end of the week. Thursday's an uneventful day. I think the humidity comes down quite a bit for Thursday, so it's going to be a noticeable change. And then Friday's going to be a little bit different. Let me bring up, this is the 500 millibar chart. Level of the atmosphere about 18,000 feet high. And kind of an interesting feature going on here as we head towards the end of the week. This is Thursday. A broad trough of low pressure across the east. As I zoom out here, here's our ridge over the middle of the country, kind of a broad trough across the east. But we're going to pay attention to this disturbance where you see the swirling colors up here in the northern Great Lakes. As that pivots south as we head towards Thursday night and into Friday. This looks like a pretty healthy little bowling ball coming out of Canada, moving through the Great Lakes. Wait for the data to reload here. I apologize, my Wi-Fi connection is a little bit slow. This thing comes out of Canada and then kind of rotates through the Great Lakes Thursday night into Friday. Here's Friday. Let's go to morning. And the reason why I'm showing you this is it's not going to do much Friday, but with this upper level, disturbance or wave of vorticity, we call it, moving through, it's going to be a pretty cloudy day, I think. There can be some sunny breaks, but fairly cloudy Friday. It's going to be cool with this fairly healthy trough overhead, and I can't even rule out a sprinkle or a shower on Friday. I think the most concentrated area of sprinkles and showers will be across the higher terrain in Pennsylvania, but even around Youngstown, can't rule out a quick shower on Friday. So that's a pretty healthy-looking disturbance coming down out of Canada. Now that the data's loaded up, I can animate this. Here's tomorrow. Watch this thing come out of the northern Great Lakes, southern Canada, rotate through, and there could be a shower with that on Friday. Weekend still looks great. Sunshine, temperatures on the upswing. We should be back in the 80s by Memorial Day. I can't rule out a shower or a thunderstorm on Memorial Day, but the vast majority of the day, I strongly suspect, is rain-free, and we should get into the 80s, like I said. Here's a quick look at the overall pattern for next week. I fast-forwarded 1 week ahead of time here. I'm going to just show you the jet stream here. We're going to go up to about the jet stream level, 300 millibars, up to around the level where the airplanes fly, 30,000 feet or so. And it'll be very easy to pick out where the jet stream is here a week from today. There it is, a dip out in the northwest, and then a pretty big ridge coming up out of the Plain States into Canada. Becomes a little bit of a trough off the coast of the northeast. But with this ridging out in here, it's going to be a hot week, or at least a very warm week next week. I think we've got a good chance of 3, 4, maybe 5 days in a row of 80-plus temperatures next week with moderate amounts of humidity. So, it's appropriate. Memorial Day, oftentimes the unofficial start of summer, and after Memorial Day, or even starting on Memorial Day, we're going to really kick into a summer mode here across northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania. That's weather for Weather Geeks on this Wednesday. Again, we get some storms popping up here and there later on today. Stay tuned on social media. I'll keep you up to date. Watch my forecast tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11. Early Thursday morning risers. Jess will have an update for you on WFMJ today at 5 a.m. We'll see you then.